This is the third video in our series rebuilding our Lazarette hatch. In the last episode I showed you how I caulked the teak, and now I'm going to show you how I'm rebuilding the inside of the Lazarette. I had to dig out all of the old wood that had been damaged by water, and I put a new piece of 1/4-inch plywood that I drilled a bunch of holes in. And I did this because I wanted it to be lightweight, but I also wanted the epoxy resin that I was mixing up to be able to have a place to go when I squished it down inside of the hatch frame. As you can see here, I sanded off the sort of major burrs that came up when I drilled through the wood. This was more cosmetic than anything else, even though you really don't see the inside of this hatch. It really just covers our Lazarette. It doesn't go into the living quarters of the boat. There's no glass or anything to see through. So my main concern was making something that was structurally sound, but that was not too heavy either. So I mixed up some West System epoxy resin. I was using the 206, I believe, and I also used a little bit of a filler, and I created a epoxy that was probably a bit like ketchup, somewhere between ketchup and mayonnaise in consistency, and I poured it in the bottom of the hatch frame, and then I clamped on top the plywood and poured more of the epoxy in through the holes, because the big deal is that you want to avoid having any voids in that space. You don't want voids because they can trap and collect moisture, and then you'll end up getting rot from the inside out. So as you can see here, I put about 5 clamps around the hatch frame, using blocks of wood underneath to protect the surface that I had just recaulked. And I really clamped down that piece of plywood so that it was tight, and so that there was no space for any voids in between the plywood and the epoxy filler that I had put in. And so the epoxy began oozing out of the holes, and I then spread it out around the inside of the frame as best as I could, to try to cover all of the wood, because I'm trying to make the wood waterproof. And then I needed to let it dry. And in the heat that we've been experiencing in Georgia, which is about 95 to 97 degrees every day, and over 95 in the shade even, it's been ridiculous. It dried really fast. And you can see here, this is what it looked like after I took the clamps off. I then went in with another layer of epoxy to fill over the spaces where there was the clamps. Once that was finished, and I was really happy with it, I flipped it over and I cleaned off the wood really well, gave it a little bit of a sanding to make sure I got rid of any of the epoxy that had dripped through a couple of the holes where the hardware was. And I cleaned it off with acetone, which dries really fast. And then I mixed up a bit of mineral spirits and Cetol natural teak to about a 50-50, maybe 40-60 ratio. And I put a first coat on, you can see here, and it just brought the wood to life. It was really amazing how fast it became this beautiful object again. I was really happy with it. And so I applied this. I did it with a foam brush, despite reading what the manufacturer says. The foam brush worked perfectly fine. I had no problems with bubbles, and it looked really, really good. And again, it was really hot, so I waited for it to dry about half the day. You can see it here. And then I came back and I put another coat on. I did 3 coats total of the natural teak Cetol, and then I did 2 coats of full strength Cetol marine gloss, just to seal it and make it really shiny and protect it. And in the next series of this video series, I'm going to show you the installation of the finished hatch so you know what it looks like. Thanks everyone for watching. It's been really great reading all of your comments. It really helps me to want to keep making these videos and makes me want to get on the water even faster. So please thumbs it up, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll talk to you soon.